Hi, Psychic Frank's Mystery School. Uh, these shows are, I gear them to my Saturday night San Francisco audience at 7:30 on Channel 29 here in San Francisco. Um, SF Commons, but you won't find it on your remote control, but that's another story. We're not going to go there today. Maybe later. But yeah, so a little bit for those who are just watching me for the first time. I'm a psychic healer who uses astrology and numerology and then the tarot cards. It's sort of like when you go to the doctor and he looks at your labs, your blood work, and then you sit down with him and he, like, tries to sell you drugs. Well, I do everything except the last part. I don't try to sell you drugs. My job is to get you off of drugs. No, no, no. Just to activate your body's own healing thing so you don't need drugs. Um, Pharmaceuticals. Herbs are good. Herbs are good. Okay. Yeah, and so that's what a little bit about. And I used to have I used to be able to use the studio that was built with the President Obama stimulus money at the studio up at BAVC. Um, um, and but now with the virus, they're closed. Yeah, so but they are being generous enough to let me tape 2 shows a month out of my apartment here with Gabby, my parrot of 26 years. She was 2 years old. She's an African Maya when I rescued her. Okay, so that's a little bit about what you're watching here, who you're watching. So if you want to get a hold of me, go to my YouTube, or you want to see the show again, it's on you. It'll be on YouTube. And those of you who are in San Francisco, thank you for the support. I'm looking forward to eventually using that studio again so I could take calls from y'all. But I thought the other day, I was on my hands and knees doing some cleaning, and I found a Xerox piece of paper from a book called Emmanuel. I don't know if it's Emmanuel 1 or Emmanuel 2, but it's Pat Rodegeist was this is she passed on, this trans channeler. Around 30 years ago, trans channelers were all the rage. I don't know where else, but in San Francisco they surely were, especially in the metaphysical community, was, I think, a lot stronger than it is now. Astrology was a lot stronger. Radio stations would talk astrology. Yeah, there were psychics who were more around on more shows. Um, but so anyway, uh, Pat Rodegeist channeled Emmanuel, and I found this. I don't know what happened to the book. As I said, it might be 1 or 2. There's 2 books there: Pat Rodegeist, Emmanuel 1, Emmanuel 2. But this is page 174 and 175 from one of those books, and it's a question answer thing. So the question to Emmanuel is: I had thought I was a conscious being. How come, then, I was so terrified when I thought I might die? That's a logical question. Because, Emmanuel says, my dear friend, you are also human, and because the portion of you that must die when you do does not want to. It says that it is the portion that says, quote unquote, I am the person. I am a personality. I am a human being in this physical world. The self I have struggled so hard to defend deserves eternity. I do not wish to take that step into the unknown because unknown things frighten me. Period. End of quote. That's all right. That does not mean that the greater portion of you is not enlightened. It is. The greater portion of me is enlightened. People say, are you enlightened? Well, enlightened enough. It is, but do not force enlightenment on the part of you that cannot contain it. Allow that part to remain human. Comfort it, cradle it, caress it into the blissful state, when the time comes. What a cruel statement, Emmanuel says, quote unquote. I thought he's quoting back to this guy who asked the question. I thought I was enlightened, and here I am afraid! Exclamation point. Can you not see in your world of duality this is quite appropriate? We're spiritual beings having a human experience. Only God is perfect. Only I'm the Brahmin shaman. Om Shiva. So time is cyclic. It's not linear. It's non-linear. I happen to be in Earth School here. We will be able to, he says, we will be able to increase the lifespan of the body, perhaps to where death could be overcome. That's a logical question. And Emmanuel says, boy, what in the world would you want to do that for? I honestly cannot think of anything more unpleasant than to remain forever locked in your schoolroom. The only purpose for that might be to relieve fear. The purpose of life is to grow through fear. This is a schoolroom, not a prison. Earth School 101, yeah. Life will extend, the purpose of life is to grow through fear and to show its flimsy nature. NASA needs to know the body in the spirit. The body is the spirit incognito. The human spirit and body are belly to belly with the cosmos, or as the old mystics say, as above, so below. Deeper in is further out. The microism affects the microism. Sandra McCabe said that. Yeah, NASA needs to know that. They want to go out of space. It's by going inner. There's many, not just me, but many psychics are very aware of extraterrestrials on this planet, incognito, in communication with, and as I said, right, see what's happening now. We'll get back to another couple of paragraphs from Emmanuel, but I wanted to talk a little about this Pisces full moon. You got the sun and moon, 23 degrees Pisces, and then Neptune and Venus, 20 degrees, pretty much 20 degrees Pisces, 19, 20 degrees Venus. And this is like the absolute perfect time to set a new intention. Plant your seeds, what seeds you want to plant for the future. And definitely higher states of consciousness are available. Once I said many times, the great attractor, the biggest black hole that it's bigger than the great attractor. There's another one. There's two black holes. My mind just went a little blank there. One affects the Earth. The bigger one affects several galaxies. And that's the one everybody is really thinking, it's going to suck us up in billions of years. No, it emits eons of wisdom. And that's what's coming through for a lot of people now, So once again, keep on going further in, far up, far in, far out. As we used to say, like the hippie movement there. Far out, man, far up, far in, far out. Yeah. So anyway, so the as above, so below. The deeper in is further out. I believe psychedelic experience, a mystical experience is good once. And then, as I say, you can bliss it with cannabis, can sort of, but once your third eye starts opening, you don't want to have to artificially stimulate it anymore. I know from experience, and of course, every time my mystery school teachers told me not to do something, of course I had to do it. They might as well have just said, "Frank, go do this." A friend of mine from New York, I hadn't seen in years. I was walking. I had just gotten out of rehab for around a year. I had a dog with me, my dog Chelsea, and I ran into this guy and hadn't seen him in a good 5 years. Oh no, longer than that. Anyway, he said, let's get together. We were never lovers. Just good friends. I think he was he wrote books for the Andy Warhol, Viva and all those people. So anyway, long story short, he gave me a couple of little pieces of mushroom. And I ended up taking them by myself. And it was the worst trip I ever had in my life. I was totally cut off with my guides. And then I somehow managed to get to sleep. And then when I woke up the next morning, with my dog, and it was a brand new day, I said, well, I guess there were, and oh my guides, of course I was in touch with my guides again. So and that's why, I tell people I'd go more with one little puff of marijuana than most people. And that it is about so slipping into different frequencies now. See, most people are running in the 3 dimensions. We have an opportunity now to get up, move it up a few chakras to the crown chakra, and it's literally we are literally on the dawning of the age of Aquarius. Peace and harmony, love and understanding. We'll talk about all that Venus stuff with this book by Donna Cunningham I found while I was on my Into These Finding Things. Thank you, Gabby. You know I love you, sweetheart. You know you're my girl. You're my sweetheart. Yes, I love you. She's being okay today. This is a good day for her. Considering ourselves blessed. Yeah, she's their lifespan is around 35 years. She's an African Meyer. When I adopted her, they told me she was 2 when I rescued her, and that was 26 years ago. So she's getting a little long in the beak. No, they don't get long in the beak. People get long in the tooth. Oh, yeah, so anyway, getting back to, we put this away for now. Victorian times, it was like vulgar to speak about death in mixed company or anywhere, I guess. Now, look where we are. That's why, it should be instilled like, death is a natural process. We shouldn't fear, live our lives, fear, spoils the whole dream. Life is a wonderful. Life is really beautiful. Emmanuel was actually given a lecture. I don't know. I remember reading it in one of the books when I had it, and he was talking about how beautiful the universe is and loving. And it's a passage that makes your heart sing. And the cynic in the back of the room raises his hand. He says, "Yeah, that's a beautiful thought." And Emmanuel says, "Life, the universe is a beautiful thought." Yeah, Brahma inhales and exhales universes. we're we're here to learn. We're here to learn and grow. We're human becomings, not human beings. As I said on my last show, I saw this guy on Gail King on one of her shows in the morning. This young black man of color was saying, just because you're born, his whole thing is teaching men to be not just male, but be men. Oh yeah, we're gonna get to Donna Cunningham. He says just because you're born with male genitalia doesn't make you a man. Just whatever your genitalia is, we're human becomings. We're human becomings. So anyway, life will extend on its own. Life is not a curse; it's a gift from God. Then someone asked, "What does it actually feel like while we're dying?" Well, dying is akin to having been in a rather stuffy room where too many people are talking and smoking, and suddenly you see the door that allows you to exit into fresh air and sunlight. Truly, it's much like that. I remember last time I was doing work on someone was, 10 years ago, and I had talked to him just before he went to the hospital, and they put him. He knew he was very sick, defective heart for born with. It was a miracle he lived as long as he did. As I said, in the minute I put my hands on his crown chakra, he was out of there. His family was all in the room, and I knew he wasn't there, but for the sake of the family, I hung around. I even went back the next day, even though I knew his body's there, but he's in a much better place. It was like I opened that. What did one shepherd say to the other shepherd? Let's get the flock out of there. He, his spirit, his soul, they just like, phew. They got the chance. I'm going to take it. Matter becomes less dense. Consciousness becomes less restricted. Colors become more vibrant. We could go on and on about how beautiful it is on the other side. Only when it's your time. You can't force it. do your work on your character defects. So because on Pisces New Moon coming up, that's as I said, all new moons are perfect times to press the reset button. Donna Cunningham, I found this wonderful book, and she talks about the glimpse for Venus, like a flower, right? Like a flower, baby. Thank you. And this is Venus upside down. In the glimpse for Uranus. And Donna Cunningham, I'll explain. Bear with me. She starts off talking about the planet. The glimpse for Venus should be familiar because it's the woman's movement, and the general public have chosen it to represent women. Everybody's familiar with the Venus sign, unless you've been in a coma. In general, have chosen to represent women. Actually, Picasso, because actually it's not such a liberated symbol. Venus has to do. This is so key. Yeah. Actually, it's not such a liberated symbol. Venus has to do with some of the very things the movement has disowned, such as preoccupation with beauty, seductiveness, bending over backwards to keep the peace. In mythology, Venus was the goddess of love, yet women now wish to be known as persons rather than love goddesses. What does it teach us about our culture that Venus is so readily accepted as female? Venus represents the power of attractiveness, seductiveness, beauty, grace, sensuality, affection, cooperation, sympathy, and art. All of these characteristics of Venus then are considered the proper role for Venus. In this view, women can't go out actively and get what they want, but should make themselves beautiful samples of quote-unquote fascinating womanhood to seduce their men into getting the things they want. Remember, this was written in 76 when the 60s was still pretty much happening, today they'd crucify her. If she got out there and said this today, they'd crucify the lady, But I digress. All men, a fascinating womanhood to seduce their men into getting the things they want. All men have the planet Venus in their chart as well, but our culture suppresses these characteristics in men and labels them effeminate. Yet men has as much a need as women to live out their Venus directly, rather than vicariously through the women in their lives. Rich men buy their women jewels, I guess. I have to become aware. Hollywood, diamonds are a girl's best friend. That whole gold digging women. Quicksilver girl. Okay, we have to become aware that it is not astrology per se, but our culturally based interpretation that labels Venus female. Men have their charts of. It's just all about being who living the life you. The other day, I was washing dishes, and all of a sudden, I hadn't heard this in my head in a while. But Junior Walker, and the All Stars, Roadrunner. I'm a Roadrunner baby, and he goes, and I'm gonna live the life I love, and I'm gonna love the life I live, because I'm a Roadrunner baby. Man, that's it. That's it. You gotta live the life you love, and you gotta love the life you live, and then life will love you right back. Look in the mirror and say, "Wow." They say, we're all on different schedules. Very rarely, we recover from the trauma of birth. It gives us amnesia. We wake up and we got amnesia. We're born, and it's like, then around 50, 60, 70, sometimes never. We wake up. And we wake up the amnesia, and we start and go, oh, that's what that's for. That's how that works. I think collectively now, there's a lot of us psychic astronauts out there who didn't plan on cosmic adventures. For me, it was, I don't know, I'm still trying to figure out. It's not important. It's not important for me. I pick where I'm going to put my energies on. I've done many shows on energy anatomy, you know, and how to be frugal with your energy allowance. That's another story. See, so then she says here, all men have the planet, so you're right, John Wade, dominate. We've taken nature's we've taken nature's nature's individuality, nature's nature. We've taken nature's nature away from her. Instead of accommodating ourselves to nature, we've dominated nature for the last couple of hundred years, big time. And look where we are now. Is there any reason we are now? And the education, why can't my kids go to school? Because when you go to school, they're learning that the Civil War didn't happen. It was the war of northern aggression. They're teaching them garbage. And it's not that I have anything against Neil deGrasse Tyson. I feel very strongly he's the reincarnation of Carl Sagan, who was no fan, who was bought and sold by science. And the other day I saw Neil deGrasse Tyson taking mail from kids. It's like, early television, Ding Dong School. The kid asked him in a letter, why are there craters on the moon? And I was embarrassed for the man, I want to hear him. I want to hear Neil deGrasse Tyson. Why are they finding planets, things in our solar system that predate the Big Bang Theory, No, that was a convenient, give us one miracle, we'll fill in the rest. And as I said, and then it's just been boom, boom. He's obviously, got a lot of charisma. I'm not racist, but I looked at the TV yesterday morning and I saw him. And I said, I took a breath and I said, let me see what this guy's selling. And he was taking letters from children. And as I said, the question, this is like, in early TV, there was, I think, Miss Francis on Ding Dong School. TV sets were this big, and I was like a toddler, 18 months old, and I'd sit in front of the TV, and there was Ding Dong School. It started, I loved it. I wouldn't have my cereal unless I sat in front of the TV, and I had my favorite shows. Don't Mess with Frank during that, Anyway, I was a hard child to raise, even though I was adopted. It was even harder, I guess. Anyway, so let's see what else the glimpse for Venus may tell us about the planet. Many astrologers have noted that Venus is shaped like a flower, a beautiful, delicate, perfumed object that we give as a token of love. Bulbs that are forced fail to flower again, and so does love that we try to force. Ron Chase has even discovered a painting by Picasso called La Femme La Flower, in which La Fleur, woman flower, in which a woman with a head like a flower is shaped like the symbol for Venus. The glyph reminds us also of a looking glass. And Venetian people can be very concerned with their appearance and quite vain. Those with Venus conjunct the sun or ascendant and many with Libra rising are often prone to narcissism. I used to think the line through the handle of the mirror showed someone hanging on to it, but now it occurs that perhaps this is forbidden, like the cross through the no smoking crossbar. Don't be so vain. Don't look so much in the mirror of others. Yeah, Venus Libra people, excuse me, Venus rising, people with Venus and Libra, anything where you have a strong Libra in your chart. Most of my experience have been with women, as learning from, and and even myself, yeah, I have a Venus Neptune conjunction in Libra, so I could do it. It's like a spiritual. I have to do it, you know. So what I'm saying is, we could look the other way. People with a strong Venus, they could just, no matter what, they could just take a walk, take a deep. They're really good at just not feeding the flames, just let until finally something just gets in their face, and they go, "What? That's it. Look at my tan. Look at my dust. I'm out of here." That was it. The proverbial. I hate this metaphor because it involves a broken back, but that's the straw that broke the camel's back. So the divorces just don't happen. They've been going for a while, and then finally it was that last thing. That's how it sort of was with my Venus and Libra and Bayvac. For like 10 years, I was taking what they're giving because I'm working for a living, but I wasn't even working for a living. I was like giving my gift. And then finally, as I said, if you watched my shows the other day, the John Lewis talking to me about making some good trouble, and then my spirit guides replaying that whole scenario at Bayvac where this terrorist they hired was pointing his finger in my chest, telling me, "Jennifer said you're causing trouble for us, man. You better stop this." And I put it out of my mind all those years, and then was shocked to realize that he was working and his sidekick were working at City Hall. And even Ross Macarini said, when I told him that they had fired those guys I told you about, he said, "Oh, good, good." I said, "Well, they hired him at City Hall." And Ross tilted his head and said something to me. It was very strange. And he said, "Oh, of course, Frank." But it was still a couple of years after that, not until I was watching TV and saw Bill Mateer. And I remembered when he was running, back when this was all happening 10 years ago, when Comcast. Why I'm saying this is because, to me, it was by the grace of God I didn't get to go to Vietnam, but for 4 years I was stuck in filthy New York City. You couldn't even breathe the air. But one thing I wasn't the sharpest knife in the drawer going through high school. Nothing really interested me. But I did understand one thing. The most precious, precious, precious thing that we have here in the United States that no other country in the world practically has, except Great Britain and Germany perhaps, is the vote. I mean, that's it. Can't overthink it. And we just saw, and we're still seeing today, how the vote is still, trying to be, usurped and bought and twisted, and what they're doing to our vote. Well, it was actually before 10 years ago. It was right before I became involved with SF Commons and Bayvac. Uh, Comcast was just starting out, and they wanted to use San Francisco's wires or something. I don't know. And it was Ross Racarimi, who was one of our supervisors, who did a Mr. Smith Goes to Washington heart rendering, to the voters. We need public access TV is democracy, and it was like, I'm not going to get it in, but I wish it was, maybe it is available. I don't know. But anyway, the voters voted for it. And I know at that time, Comcast said, "I'm going to get them. I'm going to get that boy. I'm going to get them for that." Well, eventually, Morse Raccarini got framed for a love of spat and lost his job. They labeled him all kinds of bad things because he was causing prison reform. He was causing necessary trouble before John Lewis made it the cool thing to do. Well, come over here, sister. Hey, Gabby. Baby, say hi. Hey, there she is. Uh, yeah, and then, as I said, I was washing dishes the other day, and it dawned on me. I went to one of these around that time to one of these hold. I was very active with Axis of Love. I still am, and I went to down on around Moscone Center, this big whole Earth Expo, and I had missed. Mark Leno, who ran for mayor a few elections last election or something. And I said to him, I saw him, I recognized him, and I said, "Oh, Mr. Leno, my name's Frank. I have TV show. I have producing a show with SF Commons, and the thing going on between Baby and he ran for me. I forgot about that. So it wasn't just. It wasn't just. I'm laughing, but it's not funny. So what I'm saying, it wasn't just Bill Mateer, 35-year veteran of City Hall. No one passes the win in City Hall without not knowing about it. And then this guy too, who was a supervisor running for mayor. This is before he ran for mayor. Didn't want to talk to me and literally ran from me. So I should take that as a compliment. But what I'm saying is the reason I had no choice but to, I'm hopefully causing some necessary trouble is because Comcast is saying, is literally, I don't know how else to put it, there's no nice way of saying they're spitting in our face. They're literally spitting in our face. The voters, I'm talking about the voters of the city. They said, we don't care what you voted. Your vote doesn't matter. My friends died. You've got friends, relatives who died for our vote. That's why, as I said, I guess they thought my name was Bend Over, or his Norwegian cousin Lay Flat. No, 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 no. Ain't that some shit? There's no way of putting it, man. I want to get your attention. Okay, I'm not rehashing the past to, gin up the crowd, but I do want, as I said, get that anger to be the fuel. Because pretty soon things are going to go back to normal. Hopefully, the Black Lives Matter thing will finally trickle down. Because everybody in the streets of San Francisco, when there were people on the streets of San Francisco, knew about BAVAC. I would always ask people, I'm out there and if people don't recognize me, I just introduce myself to people. And they love it. I love it. Works for them, works for me. And one of the first questions I have is, are you familiar with SF Commons? Blank. Nothing. SF Commons, BAVAC? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. They've been, we're like, well, I'm not going to get into that. But as I said, it's time now, as I said, just like what City Hall has done to all our City Hall right now, and it started with Ed Lee, and our current mayor does the same thing. They don't blatantly cut out these departments. They give them the slow bleed. They defund them rather. They defy them. Yeah, they defund them. And then they just bleed out. Well, see, that's what Comcast did 10 years ago. They knew that they couldn't blatantly get rid of us. That would make two stations for them, Channel 76 and Channel 29. That doesn't, when they got rid of them, they could have even filled in uh, SF Commons, instead of our shows. Uh, which was an insult to the foreign community. There were a lot of third world shows, and a lot of people, that was said, that spit in their nest for a lot of third world people, Farsi, I could go on and on, all the nationalities. Their names mean a lot. In America, the girls change their name anywhere, what the hell, that's how it used to be, and I guess it still is, but whatever, in a global society, SF Commons is democracy TV. You're not going to hear anything like Richard Rand's tearing apart Willie Brown, which is all true, all true. And even when I first became aware of SF Commons, I used to like listening to Farrakhan. Louis Farrakhan, and where else could you hear him on on your TV set? And so Comcast must have been really upset with that. But whatever, as I said, when Comcast got the contract 10 years ago, Comcast, some brainiac in Comcast said, "This is our chance now. We can give them the slow bleed," and that's what's happened. So we're here today. Get it while you can. Yes, my darling sweetheart, thank you. You're the angel. I found this little flyer while I was on my healing thing, and it was when I first started, I don't know, 30 years ago. This is what I was billing myself as: transformational healing and guidance by And then I wrote my name there, Frank Melanero, and my phone number. Astrology, numerology, psychic readings, and tarot. Yeah, that was my little logo back then. Okay, so um, the personality comes fully to serve the energy of its soul. That's a good thing to know. That is authentic empowerment. Respect is a sense of the soul. Yeah, as I said, a lot of times I realize if I wait for people to respect me, I'm gonna die. I gotta restart, treating people the way I want to be treated, And not just pretty words I live by. What else did I write down here? Okay, we're gonna get back to, and then I want to do some cards. We've got a few minutes left. Uh, yeah, well, it says, so don't be so vain. Don't see the Venus symbol as a hand mirror. Uh, or the crossbar on the mirror, maybe saying, don't be so vain. Don't look at yourself so much. Think of others. On the other hand, Venus without the crossbar looks like a lollipop. Saying, don't be a sucker, uh, in a relationship, nor should you suck the other person dry. As I said, my Venus, Neptune, and Libra didn't want to put it all together, and I'm saying because the implications of that were just so overwhelming. It was bad enough when I thought it was just a greed thing between Comcast and Bayvac, but then when I realized just last month that, oh no, this is City Hall, Channel 7, Disney, who owns Channel 7. This is like, I'm laughing. I guess it's a bit of a neurotic laugh because this is it, as it stands now. We are bleeding out unless people start standing up and saying, hey, you know what? I heard from Psychic Frank some what's going on, and man, ain't that some shit what they're trying to do. Yeah, they're working at it. As far as they're concerned, it's a done deal, uh, as I said, the Chinese have a proverb, talk, don't cook rice. And by the way, Gung Hee for Choy, which translated is Chinese for greetings to riches. So riches is not only material riches, it's also riches of wisdom, riches of consciousness. Huxley said there's only one true aristocracy, the aristocracy of consciousness. I was watching Prince Harry and his wife, Meghan Markle, and they're so sweet. They would be my grandchildren. They're so sweet. I'm old enough to be their great grandparents, and they're so adorable. And I really want them to make it. I really, really want them to make it. But what they're doing is just fatal, and it's because it's something I've been saying ever since I had a show. No good can ever come in the long run from bonding with a wound. And the two of them are bonding with a wound. Sometimes it's very subtle, but then sometimes it's just right out there. Like just the other day, he just looked at the camera and he said, "Well, it's right. Healing that didn't happen from the mother." He said, "My mother had to deal with all the paparazzi and everything alone, but thank God I have her with me." Now, if that's not bonding with a wound, but I'm sure I would love to work with them. I could use a knighthood, Yeah, yeah. It could be nice. It'd be nice to have a title. Yeah, thank you. It could happen in my dreams. Anyway, one of the symbols for Libra is the old-fashioned scale on which both sides must be made a balance, regardless of whether is strong in your chart or not. Yeah, so as I said, I wasn't going to be a sucker. My Venus and Libra couldn't look around the room and say, I see nothing. This is not. They are telling my friends died for this. the one thing that keeps us alive, and I know that. But I saw it as I said, it was like hitting with a 2x4. I got amnesia, and then finally I started putting it together. Just as I just repeat myself because I just want you to understand it. Sometimes, maybe in your own life, the truth is first. The truth will set you free, okay? But first, it will make you miserable. I learned that in rehab. My first year going out of rehab there. Yeah, there's a lot of emotionally disabled people, and they're dangerous. Emotionally hurt people, and they're trying to fill that space in their heart with money. That never works. Yeah, I want to talk more on my next show. It'll be in a couple of weeks. I do 2 a month here. Thanks for tuning in. I want to talk about Uranus, and it's got the symbol of Venus. See, it's giving birth to the upside down Venus here. Seeing beauty as a whole together different thing. See, that's why Uranus is, it's beautiful. Oh, I can't go fishing for it now, but I sort of wet your whistle for it. It's after this where she talks about the attributes of Uranus. I'm not doing it any good now by rushing it, so we'll do that next time. Okay, let me see if we got actually 12 minutes left. So let me see if there's anything else. Just to recap, the Pisces New Moon coming up. New moons. This one's very, very mystical. The good news about the Venus-Neptune conjunction during this new moon is that we can implement, shake it off. As I said, pharmaceuticals companies are out of control. I mean, and they're like shooting the works. I found this before we do the cards. The uncertainty principle. This is what quantum mechanics is all about. The uncertainty principle. And all you guys watching, men and women, you cats and kitties out there who are doing healings. I know there's a lot of healers out there who channel, maybe it's Reiki or doing some kind of healing work. And you're very aware that you're just a conduit, that something is coming through you bigger than yourself. You're a humble little channel for it if you're doing it right. In quantum mechanics, the uncertainty principle, it tells us that there is a fuzziness in nature, a fundamental limit to what we can know about the behavior of quantum particles, and therefore the smallest of nature, unlike Newton's clockwork universe. And if you watch on anything having to do with Einstein and the fuzzy thing, you could actually see, when I do healings, you could feel the fuzz. Now, why aren't they studying, like Nicole Tesla said, non-physical phenomena? They're doing all these because they validate anything. They'll support you if you're validating, but if you're like Sheldrake, you get thrown off a TED for questioning the Big Bang Theory was made up by the Catholic Church, And right now, as I said, this whole waste of zillions, billions, vulgar, obscene amounts of money, we're just blowing it up into outer space for kicks and giggles. When that food, we could be earning our galactic right. We could be healing this planet. It's starting. It's the good news. It's starting now. That's why I said before we get back to the death thing goes away, I want to remind you, there's no way you're not going to survive your death. It's the easiest thing you'll ever do. Like they want us to walk on the moon. I want to walk on the earth without being a chance of being shot. I want to talk about City Hall without realizing, hey, they might do a Khashoggi on me. They might say, hey, psychic friend, come in. We want to talk to you about you're finding out how we're spitting in the voters of San Francisco's faces, man. Come on, we got a birthday cake for you. It's vegan, man. Don't worry. And next thing you know, Gabby's an orphan. I'm floating in the bay in pieces. delete that thought. But it could happen, as I said, we got to stand up to these thugs. I mean, Bayvac, because they hired a few people of color, they're like, well, we're not racist. Man, girls, man, boy, you need some knowledge. Girl, you need some knowledge. Help me, once again, help me help you. You're reaping karma you don't even want to sow. So I hope while there's this absent and you're getting ready to relaunch everything, you start throwing yourself on the mercy of the fate. Let go and let God, and just tell the truth. It might just kill you, but at least you'll die with some better karma. It might just, I guess people who are, grifters, and thieves. How could you even call anybody else a thief when you're stealing the most precious thing every man, woman, child on the planet has, is their vote? I'm not, once again, I sound like a broken record, but, how could you not understand what they've done by that simple act of taking? Oh yeah, and when Mindy said they want $8,000 a month to tag our show. I walked out of that. Building that day numb, and I was trying to put it together at the bus stop, thinking I think couldn't even get on the bus. I was so upset. I was trying to figure about. Did I just get told that you people aren't worth 80 cents, never mind $8,000? Because she sort of rolled her eyes when she said that. But then, as I said, I've known a lot of people, like with doctors, earn their, men and women of color who have, gone there, at this stage of their life, wanting to give something back, the university. Oh yeah, involved with as I say, it's big. BAVAC has got their tentacles out there, while they've been letting San Francisco SF Commons bleed out. Oh yeah, they're right there with it. As I said, they're letting me be here now. They're letting me be here now, which I don't understand. And by the way, if I vanish, I'll be on YouTube. Frank's Psychic Frank's Mystery Store will continue on YouTube. Because I know a lot of people. I help them. They tell me that. I feel your vibes, and thank you for that. Okay, I'm going to pick some cards. Let me get to my non-local place. Random acts of kindness. Pluto's the next planet to go direct. That's like the middle of next month, I believe. So in the meantime, there's really no planets retrograde. So all systems go. For the United States of America, we're in a 7-year. Wisdom comes through pain. As I said, the truth will set you free, but first it will make you miserable. So a lot of people are, what becomes of the brokenhearted is to join a clan, I guess. Who knows? Okay, here's our collective selves: conscious, our subconscious, our base chakra. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, let's see what I got for you. I usually do a big spread, the Celtic cross, the staff of life. Yeah, when the numerology and astrology go together. Okay, so it's a 7-year for the United States of America, so it's a wisdom year. Next year is going to be the total money year. The wisdom we get this year is the money we get next year, the power, the money. So, but already in just the first couple of weeks, this guy Harris, Biden have been doing a lot. They're gonna tackle. They learned from Obama's the rape of Obama's power. They'll do paintings of that, of gun control, infrastructure. That's all going to happen next year. We're really going to flourish. Rally like a wilted tulip. It's almost dead, and you put it in a glass of water, and then an hour later, bing. Okay, we're growing up now. Thank you. We just said thank you. And we got work to do now. Okay? We understand now. It's still fresh in our minds how close we came. I mean, our democracy was like this priceless vase, fragile. We understand now how this there's no words. This emotionally disabled. Rush Limbaugh just passed on the other day, and they were showing glimpses of him mocking that guy from Family Ties, the actor who came up with muscular dystrophy, and Limbaugh was making fun of that actor, saying it was all a fake thing. And then Donald Trump knew that right-wing people liked Rush Limbaugh, and that's why he made fun of that reporter who wasn't faking, like Rush accused that actor of doing it. Uh, so Donald Trump is really dumb. He's evil and he's stupid, and he's got to be, as I said. But he's just precisely, exactly what we need. I mean, the universe knew exactly, like Stevie Wonder said, knew exactly where he put us and who he wanted us and where he wanted us to be. So let's, as I said, think about, if you're watching this, and what can I do to change the world? You got it in your hand. If you're watching in San Francisco, in your remote control, and you press channel 76 and channel 29, you see local something. As I said, this is, and when you write your check to pay your bill, and people don't even pay it with checks anymore. Yeah, this is going to be a rough year for the United States of America. This horse says, man, let me transform. Well, see, Saturn represents the old power, the old rule. Uranus now represents the age of Aquarius, where we always hope we'd be. Freedom, equality, justice, love and understanding. Yeah, it's all about Saturn now. It's our time now. We're going through some golden pains. Before enlightenment, chop would carry water. After enlightenment, chop would carry water. Underneath all that they're telling me, my guides are telling me, the biggest debauchery is, and of course you're not going to hear it on network news. You're only going to hear it sometimes on SF Comments, and you're hearing it now from me. The debauchery is the only reason they're exploring outer space is military. We can blow up this planet. We can blow up. Who knows what we can blow up? It's all about kill now, ask questions later. We're like still pretty much a diseased planet, or that third dimension, that three-dimensional. Now many people are, so this is not like I'm the canary in the coal mine, but as I said, there's many of us. Isn't that perfect? The show's over. I love you guys. I'll be back in 2 weeks. Bye. I love you.